I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. You keep circling the same moment, the same decision, the same conversation you won't have, the same step you say you'll take, tomorrow, later, when it feels right. You say you're confused. You say you're waiting for clarity. You say you just need more time. But deep down, you already know. You're not stuck. You're afraid. And the fear is clever. It doesn't show up screaming. It whispers. It rationalizes. It builds convincing arguments inside your head. What if it's not the right move? What if I'm being impulsive? What if I ruin something good? So you stay. You stay in jobs you've outgrown. You stay in roles that no longer fit. You stay in patterns you promised to break. You stay because movement would require something you haven't felt ready to give: the truth. And the truth is this: staying hurts less than the unknown. So you call it confusion. You call it processing. You call it preparation. But none of that is what's really holding you. What's holding you is the fear of what comes next. Not if you fail, but if you actually follow through. Because if you take the step, there's no turning back. If you speak the truth, there's no pretending anymore. If you act, something will change. And even though you want change, part of you is terrified of what it might cost. So you pause. You analyze. You overthink. You scroll. You delay. Not because you're lazy. Not because you don't care. Because on some deep level, your nervous system has equated action with danger, clarity with risk, forward motion with exposure. And this is what you need to see. The paralysis isn't proof that you're lost. It's proof that you're right on the edge of something real. Because the closer you get to the truth, the louder the resistance becomes. The body tenses. The thoughts spiral. Everything in you starts negotiating. Maybe this isn't the right time. Maybe this isn't the right way. Maybe it's safer to wait. But the truth doesn't wait. It lives beneath your excuses, beneath the flinch, beneath the voice that keeps asking for one more sign, one more plan, one more reason to believe in yourself. You don't need more time. You need to feel safe enough to act on what you already know. Because stuckness isn't a sign of confusion. It's a signal that clarity is close. So close that your old self is scrambling to stop it. And if you listen closely, you can hear the real reason you haven't moved. It's not because you don't know. It's because you do. And in the next section, you'll see exactly why the fear feels so loud, and how your own mind has been protecting you from the very change you say you want. There is a reason the fear feels so convincing. It's not a flaw. It's not weakness. It's protection. Your mind learned long ago that movement can be dangerous, that speaking up might cost you connection, that changing paths might bring judgment, that stepping into the unknown might end in failure. So now, every time you get close to something real, a boundary, a leap, a truth, your nervous system throws up a wall. It doesn't say, "This is unsafe." It says, "This is unclear." Because if it can convince you that you're confused, you won't move. And if you don't move, you won't risk. That's the hidden function of stuckness. It's not about laziness. It's not about not knowing. It's a defense mechanism. A very intelligent, very well-practiced strategy to keep you from experiencing whatever pain your past has taught you to avoid. Maybe it was the moment you told the truth and it backfired. Maybe it was the time you took the risk and felt abandoned. Maybe it was the early lesson that your needs created tension, not care. Whatever it was, your system internalized the message, stay safe by staying still. And now, even when nothing around you is threatening, your body flinches. It flinches at possibility, at clarity, at power. Because power means responsibility. Power means change. Power means facing the reality that if you act, there might be consequences. So your mind gives you delay instead. Not now. Not yet. I don't know enough. What if I'm wrong? But here's the part you already sense. You do know. The step isn't unclear. It's just uncomfortable. You're not waiting for an answer. You're bracing for the emotional weight of following it. Because action means ownership, and ownership means shedding the stories that have kept you safe. I'm stuck. I'm confused. I'm not ready. But the truth is ready. It's been waiting. And yes, it might break something open. It might disrupt the pattern. It might change what others expect from you. It might even change how you see yourself. But that's not danger. That's growth. And your system doesn't yet know the difference. Which is why the first move isn't about taking action. It's about restoring safety in the presence of truth. You don't need to push through the fear. You need to stop letting it speak as if it's the voice of reason. Because the part of you that's afraid doesn't need to be in charge. It just needs to be heard, and then held, long enough for you to remember what you already know. And in the next section, you'll learn a practice to do exactly that, to stop flinching at clarity, and start telling yourself the truth again. Each morning, before the noise begins, you return to yourself, not to the schedule, not to the scroll, not to the list of things you haven't done. You return to the part of you that knows. You sit. One hand on your chest, one hand open in your lap. You breathe. Not to relax, not to fix, just to arrive. And then you ask the question that changes everything. If I wasn't afraid, what would I already know? Let it come. Don't analyze. Don't correct. Don't soften it. Just listen. Maybe it's a sentence. Maybe it's a feeling. Maybe it's just one word. Say it aloud. Whisper it if you have to. But say it. This is not about action. Not yet. This is about truth. Because your life doesn't begin with a to-do list. It begins with a decision to stop pretending you don't know. That's the root of stuckness. Pretending you're unclear when you're actually just scared. But the moment you say it, something shifts. Even if you don't move. Even if you don't act. Even if all you do is name it. That name begins to dissolve the fog. You stop fighting with yourself. You stop rehearsing confusion. You stop asking questions you already have answers to. And little by little, your nervous system begins to trust you again. Because truth is safety, even when it's uncomfortable, especially then. Each morning, You repeat the practice. You sit. You breathe. You ask, if I wasn't afraid, what would I already know? And you listen. Not for the perfect plan, not for certainty, just for honesty. Because once you stop lying to yourself, you don't have to force anything. Clarity rises on its own. And soon, the question starts showing up in other places. Before the email you don't want to send. Before the boundary you're scared to draw. Before the leap you've been putting off. You pause. You breathe. You ask. And the truth answers. Every time. Not because you're becoming braver. Because you're becoming more real. And this is how freedom begins. Not with a breakthrough. With one honest sentence a day. And in the next section, you'll step even further back into the stillness that holds all of it. The fear, the clarity, the moment before the move is made. There is a stillness beneath all of it. Beneath the tension. Beneath the racing thoughts. Beneath the pressure to decide, to act, to get it right. There is something in you that is not moving. Not bracing. Not searching for clarity. Just here. It watches the fear rise and it does not flinch. It watches the confusion swirl and it does not chase an answer. It watches the moment unfold exactly as it is. This is the part of you that has never been stuck because it doesn't live inside the story. It is not the identity struggling to decide. It is not the one caught in the loop of analysis. It is not the voice that says you need more time, more proof, more safety. It is the one who sees. And the more you return to that space, the more you realize you don't need to become fearless. You only need to stop identifying with the fear. You are not the thought. You are not the hesitation. You are not the version of you that keeps circling the same question. You are the witness. The space between breaths. The awareness that holds all parts of you without rushing any of them. The ground beneath the spinning. Even now, you can feel it. You don't have to name it. You don't have to hold it perfectly. You just have to notice. There is breath. There is space. There is the weight of your body. And there is the stillness watching it all happen. This is not detachment. It is not a spiritual trick. It is the truth you return to when the stories fall apart. You've never needed to figure it all out. You've needed to remember the part of you that isn't confused. And from that place, everything begins to soften. The fear no longer controls you. The mind no longer dominates you. The story no longer defines you. Because you are not the one who is stuck. You are the space it rises within. You are the witness of the loop, not the one caught inside it. And the more you rest in this awareness, the more courage becomes effortless. Not because the fear is gone, because it no longer owns your voice. In the final section, you'll learn how to carry this clarity, this seeing, into the moments ahead, where small truths become freedom, and fear no longer decides the path you walk. You start to feel it in the small moments, the space between thought and action. The pause before you answer. The moment you know what you need and no longer talk yourself out of it. You're not forcing change. You're moving with truth. Not because the fear is gone, but because it no longer controls the volume. You hear it, you hold it, and then you act anyway. Not to prove anything, not to rush toward a breakthrough, but because the cost of staying silent is finally heavier than the risk of speaking. This is how the shift begins. Quietly, gradually, but unmistakably. You say no without apology. You say yes without over-explaining. You stop rehearsing confusion when you're already clear. And something in your life begins to reorganize around that honesty. To recap, each morning you sit in stillness, one hand on your chest, one hand open beside you. You breathe. Then you ask, if I wasn't afraid, what would I already know? You speak the answer, not to act on it, not yet, but to tell the truth. This daily return becomes your anchor. Your nervous system begins to trust clarity again. And you begin to meet yourself with less resistance. Throughout the day, you carry the second practice. 30 seconds, a breath, a pause, a moment of witnessing. You feel the old pattern rise, the tension, the delay, the loop, and you step back into the stillness. You don't push it away, you just see it. You remember the one who is watching. And in that remembering, you stop shrinking to stay safe. You move slower. You speak clearer. You let the truth arrive on its own terms. You no longer obey the fear. You let it speak, but you do not follow. And soon, the word stuck disappears from your vocabulary. Not because you're never afraid, but because you're no longer waiting for fear to disappear before you move. You were never stuck. You were just waiting for the fear to soften enough to let you go. And now, it has. So, you begin. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught. You are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.